As we all know, James Gunn and Peter Safran are currently crafting a 10-year plan for the DCU. And there's so many crazy rumors and theories about what they're going to do with this. Is it going to be a full-on hard reboot, recasting everybody? Or is it just going to be a soft reboot, recasting some people, keeping some people that have been successful? And then there's just who knows what else is going on there. And James Gunn has promised that we are getting at least some sort of reveal by the end of this month, by the end of January 2023, which there's only like a week and a half left of at this point. We will get at least a partial slate reveal. We're obviously not going to get the full 10-year plan reveal. I'm expecting like maybe 3 to 4 projects type thing, or at least like, in comparison to Marvel with the MCU, at least like the phase 1 reveal. I could see that's what's going to be going down here. And, obviously everybody is, having their own fan predictions for what's going to get revealed, what they want to get revealed. And, it could literally happen any day now. We don't even know the form of what these announcements are going to be. Is it just going to be James Gunn tweeting this stuff out like he did with the Superman thing? Or are they going to do like a DC fandom type fan video presentation thing? Or is it just going to be released through the trades? We have no idea. There's a lot unknown here, but I'm really excited to see when we do eventually get this partial slate reveal to finally get things cleared up a bit here. So today we're actually going to be going over my predictions for what is going to be revealed, and I don't necessarily think all of this is going to be revealed during this month of January by James Gunn, but I at least think that there's some possibilities here, and there's a lot of potential with this brand new universe and with DC Studios creating the DCU. So I want to start off initially by saying that I'm 90% sure they're not even going to mention The Flash, Aquaman, or Shazam in this slate reveal. Because, of course, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods, the Flash movie, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom all coming out this year in 2023. So, again, we don't know for sure. But if they are doing a hard reboot and they're recasting The Flash and they're recasting Aquaman and they're recasting Shazam and they're not continuing these franchises, it would just honestly be stupid from a business standpoint to announce like, hey, we're not going anywhere with these movies, the franchise ends right here, but still, hey, go watch our movies in theaters, because that's just not a good idea. So they're probably not even going to touch on this at all. I'd say, we've heard some conflicting reports, but I'd say it's pretty likely Ezra Miller is getting recast. Obviously there's the whole thing with Aquaman, Jason Momoa, and Lobo, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Shazam, we have no idea what's going on there, but that'll be the first DC movie to come out this year in March. But just don't expect them to talk about this or touch on these movies at all, other than the fact that they'll probably be like, maybe at least marketing them as like, hey, check out these DC movies that are coming this year. But the big thing that we know for sure is going to be talked about is Superman, because this was the big tease from James Gunn at the end of last year when he first said that, like, hey, you'll get some new announcements in January, but to tide you over for now, we're working on a Superman movie. It's going to be a brand new Superman movie without Henry Cavill. It's going to be a recast. It is going to be a younger Superman. And that's, for the most part, all we knew about this movie. We don't know anything about cast or anything like that. I did a video last week about a rumor of James Gunn wanting Jacob Elordi for the role, but we really don't know much about this movie. Now, we know that it's going to be a younger Superman, and it's going to be his early days at the Daily Planet. He's going to be, for the first time, meeting Lois Lane and probably Lex Luthor and characters like that as well. And hopefully Jimmy Olsen, because Jimmy Olsen, for some reason, is never in anything anymore, and it's kind of sad. So I don't really know exactly what they're going to go for this. I doubt they'll make Lex Luthor the main villain of this first movie. He'll probably be in it, but probably to set up for a bigger role later on down the line. But, as cool as it would be to see a cool, big Superman villain like Brainiac or Bizarro, as much as I would love to see that, they would probably want to save that for at least a second or third Superman movie. So start off a little lighter in this first one. And I think a great opportunity here with all of the Jason Momoa Lobo rumors to make him the villain of this first Superman movie. I think that would be a great idea, especially because this is a recast of Superman, so that would make things a little less confusing with Jason Momoa being Lobo and Aquaman at the same time. And, again, they're going to have to explain all that. But I think this would just be a great opportunity because Lobo is a great character for Superman because he's just as strong as Superman. And he's very much kind of like DC's Deadpool. He can lose an arm and grow it back and all this stuff. I love the adaptation of him in the Superman Man of Tomorrow animated movie. His relationship and his fight with Superman in that movie, I think, was great. So I talked about quite a bit that I would love to see this Superman reboot movie be kind of an adaptation of that. But just to have Jason Momoa as Lobo is just amazing, perfect casting. We know Jason Momoa, how passionate he is about this character. It's his favorite comic book character. He loves him even more than Aquaman. So I think this would be a great opportunity to bring this character in, because I don't know if you really want to do a Lobo solo movie or HBO Max series, at least not this early. Like, introduce him in this Superman movie and then spin him off into his own project further down the line. But another thing I can say is definitely going to be touched on during this Slate reveal is Peacemaker Season 2. Another one of the things that we know is for sure happening in the future because, of course, well, it's James Gunn's baby. So, why would he cancel this? Another one of the things that makes it confusing, like, are we doing a reboot? Are we not? But Peacemaker Season 1 was amazing. The Suicide Squad, I loved that movie. The introduction to this character and then really exploring him and developing this character even further in his own series on HBO Max. I love that show. One of my favorite series of 2022. Yeah, it was 2022 when it came out last year. I really had a lot of fun with Peacemaker, so I'm really excited for Season 2. We don't know anything about Season 2, but I believe they're going to start filming this summer, and James Gunn, I'm pretty sure he's already wrote the scripts for the whole season, and he did say recently, see you soon, because it was the 1-year anniversary of Peacemaker, and he said, obviously he made a post celebrating that, and he said, see you soon. So that could possibly be, again, if we're getting a DC fandom type thing, maybe we're going to get a presentation with the cast themselves talking about Season 2, what's going to happen, all that kind of stuff. And this also kind of ties into another thing that I could be seeing revealed here is a Suicide Squad 3. Now, I don't know exactly what the specifics of this project would be. Would it be an actual Suicide Squad 3? Would it be another movie? Or would it be storytelling done in an HBO Max series? Because we know James Gunn, before he was even, signed on as the co-president of DC Studios, that he was already working on multiple spin-offs from the Suicide Squad. There was supposedly an Amanda Waller HBO Max series, something involving Peter Capaldi's The Thinker, and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff, Checkmate. So we don't know exactly what's going on here. The Suicide Squad, as great as that movie was, it completely bombed at the box office, which is really unfortunate because for such a good movie to do not so well, I'm just hoping, and, obviously it makes sense. James Gunn is in charge. Of course, if he wants to do another Suicide Squad movie, he's going to do another Suicide Squad movie. And there's been some crazy rumors about what this movie could possibly be that I'll probably be making a video on in the next couple days. But I could see whether it's a reveal of the actual movie or at least an idea or at least some of these spin-off series definitely being revealed during this partial slate reveal in the coming days/weeks. Now, Green Lantern is another one that I think for sure is going to be talked about because growing up, Green Lantern has always been one of the staples of the DC universe. You watch like pretty much any Justice League cartoon, Green Lantern plays a huge part in it, at least for the most part. At least, you go back to the Justice League Unlimited and, some of the earlier animated series. I grew up with Green Lantern. There's even a Green Lantern animated series. But then that Ryan Reynolds movie hit in 2011, just destroyed the character and the whole entire brand. And it's just kind of baffling how the character has never recovered from that all these years later, because I've only watched that movie once, and at the time I was little, so I should really give it a rewatch at this point. I really don't think it's like that bad, but it's just so sad. Obviously we know that there was a Green Lantern HBO Max series in development that was in development for years and went pretty much nowhere, and then he was getting redeveloped as a Jon Stewart HBO Max series, and there were things saying that was canceled. James Gunn said it wasn't, so I don't really know where we're at with this. Like, are we still getting that Jon Stewart Green Lantern HBO Max series? Is Jon Stewart going to be the main Green Lantern of the DCU, or are we going to be getting possibly both an HBO Max series and a Green Lantern core movie like we were initially supposed to get? So then that way, hopefully we can get both Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, because then that would please both sides of the fans. Obviously you get some great representation with Jon Stewart in there, and I think that would just be a really cool way of doing things. Green Lantern, we just need Green Lantern back. Green Lantern needs to be a big part of this new universe, as well as also Wonder Woman as well. I mean, Wonder Woman is literally part of the DC Trinity, and I mean, Batman and Superman haven't really been getting the best treatment the last couple of years, other than obviously the Batman. And I think Superman and Lois is a great adaptation of Superman, but at least on the big screen and like in the DCEU/DCU, the same kind of goes for Wonder Woman as well. I mean, that first movie was amazing. Wonder Woman 1984, not so much. But it still wasn't terrible. I mean, you can go back and watch my review on the channel. I still fairly enjoyed that movie, but since then, it feels like everybody has just turned against Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and apparently, I mean, it's so conflicting. We don't know we have no idea what's going on here. A couple months ago, there were the reports that Gal Gadot was done as Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins walked away from Wonder Woman 3. We know that for a fact, but are we still getting a Wonder Woman 3, and will it still be Gal Gadot, or will it be like the Superman movie, a reboot? Will it be a completely new actress? I mean, I think Alexandra Daddario has always been a major fan cast for that role. I think would be great for it. But again, there's just so much unknown. Like, we don't know what is happening here. It's just so confusing. So that's one of the things I'm really excited for in this partial slate reveal, is even more than the fact that we're getting the reveal of these upcoming projects, but just the fact that I want to know what is happening. Are we getting a reboot? Are we getting a soft reboot? Are we getting these recasts, or are they just going to continue where they are? But another one I want to see is Green Arrow. This is a big one that a lot of people have also been predicting as well. Green Arrow, another, like Green Lantern, another big part of the DC universe that has never been done on film. And it's just so surprising. I mean, obviously it probably has to do with the fact that we had the Arrow series on the CW, and that was a great show. I really enjoyed that. But Stephen Amell is now done as Green Arrow, other than his final appearance in The Flash season 9. But bring Green Arrow into the movies, into the DCU. Austin Butler has been a major fan cast. I think he'd be great in the role. Austin Butler obviously did amazing performance in Elvis, but what I want to see more than just a Green Arrow movie, I want to see a Green Arrow and Black Canary movie. It makes so much sense. Black Canary, another huge DC character that, we saw her in Birds of Prey, but she was definitely one of the best parts of that movie, but she just has not been done justice on film. So bring these two characters together, and you could really have something good going. I think this would be a great addition, because it's, James Gunn has teased that obviously they're going to do the big heavy hitters like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but they're also going to do, I wouldn't call Green Arrow an obscure character, but definitely not a character you would expect to get a movie in like the first phase of the DCU, compared to get a Green Arrow movie before you get a Flash movie or an Aquaman movie in this universe. But what about Blue Beetle? Blue Beetle is at an interesting spot, because Blue Beetle, of course, is another movie that comes out this year as well, and we know it's got Cholamer Dueña as Jaime Reyes, and this is a movie I'm super excited for. So many people are so excited for this film. James Gunn has even praised this movie and said how amazing it is, how amazing Xolo's performance and George Lopez's performance is in this movie. So James Gunn is also excited for it. So with this whole potential reboot, a lot of people have been saying, well, as long as this movie doesn't have any huge ties specifically to the DCEU, what if this is possibly even our first movie in this brand new rebooted DCU? So that I think would be awesome, because there's just so much potential with this movie. Everyone is so excited for it. I'm so excited for it. So for this to be a part of the new universe, that's something I'm really hopeful for. And of course, that does also open up the door for a possible spin-off. We haven't heard much about Ted Kord being in this movie, but maybe a post-credit scene or something like that, sets up a spin-off of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. So this would, of course, be a team-up movie between the original Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, and Booster Gold. Two characters that have also not been done in film previously, and should be, though. I think this would just be so cool to do a little buddy cop action movie with these two characters. I feel like both of these characters really fit James Gunn's style. And even before... after the Suicide Squad came out and we were talking about how James Gunn is supposedly working on some other DC projects, I remember Booster Gold being a big one that people were saying, hey, James Gunn will be perfect for that. And especially when you look at kind of what's going on with these characters and rumors as of late. Like, for example, Blue Beetle, we don't know much about Ted Kord being in this first Blue Beetle movie, but there were rumors a while ago that Jason Sudeikis was supposedly playing Ted Kord. Those have since then been debunked, which I'm actually kind of super upset about now, because I just started watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus, and I love that show. So I would love to see Jason Sudeikis as Ted Kord. But another interesting thing that is much more recent is maybe Chris Pratt as Booster Gold, because James Gunn has talked about, obviously he's working on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 at the same time right now, but he's talked about how, he is pretty confident that a lot of those Guardians of the Galaxy actors will continue to work with him over here at DC Studios. And Chris Pratt has been one of the biggest ones we've been talking about there, and I think he would be a great casting as Booster Gold, especially if you want to do a buddy cop movie like this. I mean, honestly, he would work pretty well as Ted Kord as well, but I think he'd be even better as Booster Gold. Now, the other thing is, though, obviously James Gunn, he's been posting a lot of updates on Twitter, and one of the updates he posted a couple weeks ago was he was kind of doing a rundown of everything he did that day, and one of the various bullet points he mentioned was he wrote 1/3 of an unannounced DC TV series. Now, this could be a whole bunch of possibilities. There's so many things you can make a live-action series about for DC, for HBO Max, and here's just a couple ideas that I think could be possible here. Like, for example, Martian Manhunter. I think, again, another big DC character that, sure, we saw him in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but he can be done so much better. Honestly, sure, it'd be cool to see him just in Justice League movies, but give him his own project. Honestly, this guy deserves his own project. I think, honestly, a series would probably work better than a movie itself, but, honestly, either one. So, a series I think would work really nicely, though, because you can explore his origins, Martian Manhunter, being on Mars, the whole war between the Green Martians and the White Martians, the whole thing with his family and losing his family, him coming to Earth. There's just a whole lot of potential with this character, and of course would lead to him being a part of the Justice League when that is eventually formed. Now, kind of a wild card thing thrown out here is maybe the Question, because the Question is a character that some of you may not even know who he is, but the Question in the comics, basically he's just a detective. Like, he doesn't have any superpowers or anything like that, at least in most versions. He's pretty much just a regular old detective, but he's teamed up with a lot of characters like Batman specifically in the past, and has been a member of the Justice League at various points in time. And the reason I bring this up, though, is because there was a tweet on Twitter that James Gunn liked, and it said something along the lines of, if at James Gunn makes a Question series or movie or something like that for the DCU, then it'll be the best thing ever, or something like that. Obviously I'm just paraphrasing, and James Gunn liked that tweet. Now, that could be meaning absolutely nothing, but at the same time, it could possibly mean maybe he's working on a Question project. And I kind of doubt that's confirmation of that, but I just saw that and took that and was like, hey, that's actually a great idea, because, again, the Question is such an interesting character who I don't believe has ever been done in live action before, but he's such a cool character, and I think would be perfect for an HBO Max series, because it's something that could work as just a regular HBO original that would, sure, it would be a DC series, but it wouldn't feel like a superhero show. A lot of people recently have been, seeing superhero and comic book fatigue. This would be a great way to get out of it. Just do a regular, compelling detective show who just happens to be a detective that in a future Justice League movie could show up. I think that would be really cool. And doing the whole thing with the mask to make it look like he doesn't have a face, or if you want to do the new 52 version where he actually magically does not have a face, there's a couple different options there, but I think that the Question would be a great possibility to explore in the DCU. Now, finally, my last little wild card prediction here is Plastic Man. This is one that just is It's a movie that has supposedly been in development for years, and then it got switched over to being an HBO Max series, and it's just gone absolutely nowhere. But as a character that, as wacky as he is, so many people want to see him in live action. I think he's a hilarious character, and he's so James Gunn's style. I think James Gunn could do such a good job with Plastic Man, whether it is a movie or an HBO Max series. But whatever they do with this character, please cast Ben Schwartz, because that would just be amazing cast. Of course, Ben Schwartz, he voices Sonic the Hedgehog. Ben Schwartz himself even wants to play Plastic Man. He's even, I remember James Gunn made a tweet about something related to DC, and it had a picture of like the Justice League and Plastic Man was in it, and Ben Schwartz retweeted that and says something about it. So he wants to play Plastic Man, and I think he should play Plastic Man, and I just think that would be an amazing thing to do, because again, more so an obscure character for DC that most of the general public doesn't know about, but I think would be a great addition to the DCU. Now, what about the Justice League, though? Because, of course, again, when we're comparing it to Marvel, and it's kind of hard not to, the MCU's Phase 1 ended with all these heroes coming together, and it ended with the first Avengers movie. So would we do a similar thing here, where all these heroes come together, and the end of this supposed Phase 1 would be a Justice League movie? Is that what we're going to do? Well, maybe, but I'm thinking probably not, and even if that is the case, I doubt James Gunn will announce that in this first initial slate reveal. I'm thinking if we do get any sort of team-up reveal to kind of end it off, I think the big thing would be possibly something like a World's Finest storyline, which is a big thing a lot of people have been wanting to see for a while, and kind of takes what the initial DCU almost did, but do it, good this time, because they had the right idea with having a Batman and Superman movie prior to the Justice League being formed, but instead they did Batman versus Superman instead of Batman teaming up with Superman, which I just think is a far better idea, because obviously the big comparison is Batman versus Superman and Captain America Civil War. Civil War was way more successful, and I think one of the reasons for that is because you had years to develop that relationship between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. That's why their feud was so much more impactful. Batman and Superman, this was their first time meeting, and they automatically hated each other, so it just didn't work as well. So to do a Batman and Superman team-up project, this could possibly be, I believe they did an animated version of this where it was like these two characters versus Lex Luthor, and then maybe you could throw in another Batman villain in there as well, maybe even the Joker, maybe someone smaller. But I just think this would be a really great idea to do, especially if you set up Lex Luthor in that first Superman movie, and then he becomes the main villain of this project, because he could take on both Batman and Superman at the same time, and would also set him up to be a future Justice League villain as well, possibly lead to him forming the Legion of Doom. I think that would be great to see. And again, just introducing these two characters so you have that groundwork laid, so that there's that relationship, that friendship, that trust between Batman and Superman before we actually get a Justice League movie or whatever ends up happening there. I think this would be perfect to do. The only question would be what's happening with Batman, and we don't exactly know for sure, especially compared to what we have going on with Robert Pattinson's Batman. Not looking like that's going to be part of this universe, so that's going to be separate, but we are getting a Batman that's going to be, James Gunn has said Batman will be an important part to this universe. There's been rumors about a Batman HBO Max series, which I think would be cool, explore the Bat family. But yeah, definitely interesting to think about. I think this would be a great way to end off the reveals and end off this sort of Phase 1 of the DCU. So anyways, guys, those are my predictions of what James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to reveal by the end of this month for their initial slate of the DC cinematic universe. Now, I'm going to be doing a kind of second part to this where I talk about some other ideas that I think would be perfect for this universe that I would like to see, that I think is definitely something that I could see James Gunn and Peter Safran doing. Things that I just didn't have time to include in this video, and also I highly doubt will be announced. I think all of this is possible, but I think definitely not all of this are going to get announced. But I will be doing a second part to this video. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think will get revealed by the end of this month for this initial DCU slate reveal from James Gunn and Peter Safran? What projects do you want to see? And, all that stuff. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.